Welcome, superstar agents and investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, September 26th, 2019, and this is Mastermind call number 246. Start off with congratulations. We couldn't make up our minds, so we had two winners of the week last week. We had Colette Mayers told a great story of how she turned one lead into 4 deals, and Willie Gallegos told a great story about 9-month-old leads, and he had already got a buy and flip and a listing, and I think he had 2 more appointments. So we get stories like that. You're both winners, so congratulations to both of you. I have nothing else other than a reminder. The partners are all meeting this week in beautiful Lake Lure, or next week, I'm sorry, Lake Lure, North Carolina, and we're getting together for our annual summit meeting where we get together and do some planning. If any of you have any ideas, some of our best ideas, changes, upgrades have come from our clients, so don't be shy. Just send an email to support@alltheleads and let us know how we can make this program better for you and how we can help you to be more successful. And we will give you credit if you come up with a good idea. You get full credit, no money but full credit. Maybe we'll even throw you some leads. Tim, anything you want to share with the group?
Nary a thing. Let's rock on.
Chad, I know you're finishing up Mastery today. Any comments about Mastery or anything you want to share?
No, we finished yesterday, record class.
Oh, okay.
And, 21 alumni, and it was a good class. So if I have it, I'll schedule the dates for the October class probably today. If anybody missed Mastery this month, then you don't want to wait. If you sign up now, we'll send you the recordings from the class we just finished yesterday, and then we'll get you in the live class in October.
Every class is bigger and better. I think this one was 80-some people, and once you take Mastery, guys, you're an alumni. You can take it every month if you want to. I mean, you don't have to, but it certainly always has new content. It's always growing and getting better. I know it's getting longer. How long was this session, Chad?
We went, I think, 10 hours on this one.
Okay,
the
not
record,
the longest.
I think the record was 12.
Right.
It's interactive, so we stay as long as it takes to get everybody comfortable and their questions answered.
Yeah, and in a good segue, we try to do the same thing on these calls, but we also try to respect your time and have you be able to plan on an hour. So please, if you want to participate, get in there now. I think I had one person I had to call back after the call last week, and I don't like to do that. We do have 3 in the queue, guys. We have plenty of room for more. Just hit *6 and then hit 1. And first up this week is phone number ending in 4551. You're up first.
Hey, this is Janet Fisher. I do have a question. I am not able to get my county yet because I've been on the wait list for a couple months now. But thinking about doing another county that's not in my wheelhouse, and I'm a little hesitant because it would be remote. How difficult is it to do this from remote?
Brokerage or investment or both?
Oh, I'm an agent, a real estate agent.
I'm sorry?
I'm a real estate agent.
So, I mean, are you willing to drive to the appointments at least?
Well, it's about a 3-hour drive.
Oh, so that's not that feasible. Well, what I would recommend is, you know, if in that case you have so much space, like I would find a good referral partner, someone to partner up with and help, you know, they can pay half for the leads, or you can give them, like, and you can split everything 50-50, or maybe you pay for the leads, they pay for the mail. We do have some folks who they've basically taken an expansion model. And so they will buy the leads, pay for the marketing, do everything, and then they do a 50-50 referral with an agent in the, you know, on the ground. The alternative to that is, you know, you could, it all depends on the partner you find. Like, do you know somebody in that market that you trust?
No, but I know that my office has an office, my brokerage has an office up there, so I can find someone. I just don't know their ethics yet until I talk to them. But if I get, I'm pretty good at.
A
Go ahead.
good place to start, and what I would do is talk to the broker and say, listen, you know, the person I'm looking for is compassionate, empathetic, not knocking out of the park yet, but they're really ambitious and they want to build the listing side of their business. Does anybody come to mind? Okay, great. Could you connect us? And if you can find that person has similar business qualities, you know, maybe the best thing for you guys to do is jump into this together and just partner on everything. Split the expenses 50-50 and split the commissions 50-50. I think you've got to find your person first and then find a deal that's, you know, is fair to both of you, that fits your situation. But the one thing, I mean, you can't just choose any partner. Like if they're not willing to, you know, if they don't have the same mindset and the same values, they're not going to do well with this. So make sure you find someone that actually understands the concept of offering a wide variety of service in order to earn the right to, you know, to the real estate and monetizing it. And if you find that, if you need help, you know, structuring how you put it together, you can call us and get on my calendar. I'll tell you how some of the other folks have done it. But the people that matters most.
I had another thought. Is that market in the same MLS or a different MLS?
Half of the county is in my same MLS, the other half is not.
And what percentage of your leads there would you say are local and what percentage are out of the area, like absentee owners or absentee PRs?
You mean leads from you all?
Yeah, in other words, the leads you're getting now, I'm assuming this adjacent county would be somewhat similar, even though it's only, you know, it's a few hours away. But now, see, every part of the country is different. Like in Florida, 95% of ours.
That's
Are you
an
there?
unfair question. Yeah, that's an unfair question because I'm not getting leads from you all now because I can't get
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you said you were getting leads and you want to go to an adjacent county. Well, the point I was going to, yeah, in what state are you in? What part of the country?
I'm in Arizona.
Yeah, I don't know. My point being in a significant percentage of these leads, like in Florida, it's 95%. In Chad's market, it's 20%. A significant percentage of them are going to be out of the area anyway. So it's really, you can have a phone conversation, list the property, put it in the MLS, and just make one trip out there and put a lockbox on. They're not high maintenance listings. So you may be able to take some of those listings yourself, being that far away. But that's why I was curious. And if it's a different multiple listing, then that's another issue also. It wouldn't be fair to the homeowner to not have it in the correct ML listing because, and not in the correct MLS because they wouldn't get the exposure that they need.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't think I was clear. It's not the listing part that has me hesitant. It is the round robin type of, being able to help them with, placing a dog or helping them clean out the property or, fixing up the property or finding an investor that will purchase property there. That is my, I'm so new to your program and I haven't, been able to get leads yet because my market's full.
So I would say that's the easiest half. Like the difficult half, it would be, the meeting and closing the appointments would be the part that I think that's the challenging part, where building your team and having them go do their part, you don't, and by design, you shouldn't be part of that even if it's in your backyard. You shouldn't be going to a house for an estate sale or a clean out or anything. Like you can structure it in such a way that you don't have to.
No, it's finding those people.
Yeah, we can find them. We can find them remotely. We don't have to be on the ground. I think that part's going to be fairly simple for you. The challenging part is without you being able to drive and meet with the folks. And I'm not saying that it's not doable. I mean, we have folks who do virtual wholesaling, which is more difficult than listing houses. So I don't want to say that you can't do it. I mean, if you drive your appointments to the phones or to a Zoom presentation, and that's where you do it, you need to have some good details on the home. So you need someone on the ground that can take a video or do a property tour for you and report back. Seeing the condition of the home, like being able to see the property helps you understand what they need help with. Like how big of a problem is the personal property? You know, what are the like, how do we secure the property, maintain the property, all these things. So if you had like a really good contractor that could do photography and video work for you and go see these properties for a flat fee, or for, you know, for the opportunity to quote every house you're associated with, those make, you know, that could be a good partner. You could go with another real estate agent and you guys just kind of split everything and tag team it. That's probably your, I think that's probably your best bet. The other thing is you can just find the investor, and the investor that you're going to add to your team anyways can be there on the ground helping you. And you don't have to pay them anything. Their incentive is, when you find the 10% that are highly motivated to sell right now, they get that referral, and they do some groundwork for you to earn that position, right?
Okay. And I know that you guys will be there to help me through like the first few of these, I'm sure, right?
Sure. I mean, you call the main number like 9 to 5 Eastern. If you call the main number, you can almost always get one of us on the phone that have a lot of experience with this. So, and our staff is very knowledgeable too. So, but yes, we've got your back if you're stuck.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good way to start. Thank you. We got 3 more in the queue, guys. We got plenty of room for more. Just hit *6 and hit 1. Next up is phone number ending in 2199. You're up next.
Okay. My name is Yolanda Dean, and I'm calling from Houston, Texas. So I'm very new, and I've been working probate, you know, on my own. Of course, I have a full-time job, and I'm a realtor too, part-time. And I just want to know maybe some different, get a different insight on some successful practices that I can use to, you know, to get more deals. I understand probates are kind of slow, but just like some good successful practices maybe I can, you know, use to help me, you know, get some deals.
Okay. So how many probates have you done, or have you closed any?
No, I haven't closed any.
Okay.
No, I haven't closed any.
And are you coming at this from a brokerage standpoint or investment, or both?
Either which one is better, because I'm both. I'm an agent and I'm an investor. So I would say focus more on the investor side. Yeah, I would say more coming from the investor side.
So the like best practices, what makes our folks so successful is just a radically different approach than most any investor or agent will take, and it's creating a broad scope of service. Like, you give them 25 reasons to respond or to realize they need your help, and then very quickly narrow that down to the real estate needs, and that's how you monetize it. And being on both sides of the fence, you've got a lot more surface area and a lot more opportunity. So the X factor in this is breaking the habit of labeling yourself. Like, instead of being an investor or being an agent, you should just be you. Going straight for the real estate is another common mistake. If you haven't, there's actually if you go to alltheleads.com and look under go to the search bar in the top right and put in, and Kat will link this in the notes for this call when we post it. There's a blog post that I did. It's part of the Tips from the Trainer series. I think it was called the 3 Things Not to Do Started in Probate. And it was inspired by a really good question that someone asked that was considering that signed up for us. But before they signed up, he said, you know, I want to get the most out of this. What are the things I should not be doing? And I thought that was such a good question. And I think that video will really help you. It shows, you know, how we differentiate ourselves from anyone else who might be competing, and how we really like broaden our surface area so they have multiple reasons to be attracted to our offer. And then obviously, you know, we're monetizing that through the real estate services, but we don't open with that. That's the biggest thing that's the biggest edge you can have, is do the opposite of what everybody else is doing, so you actually get attention and engagement. And because if you get them on the phone, you're pretty much done if you're a strong salesperson. It's the hard part is making contact and getting them to engage with you. So that's the differentiation is the big X factor there.
Yeah, because they're starting to say things like invading their privacy, or they just been real harsh, or they sold the property. And after my research, I looked at the property is not sold. I do my research before I even call. So they're just being like really rude. Like I'm invading their privacy. I guess it's a new thing they're saying now. Right? So I don't know.
Well, so I'll challenge you to raise your skill set. Like if people are being rude to you, you need to prove it's your burden to provide, to show them the value, right? So if you're saying the right things, you get a really warm reception, and this is fun and easy. And we've got lots of people on this call that would agree with me. If you're saying the wrong things, you're going to feel like crap about yourself, and you're going to start to believe the things they're saying because they see no value in your offer. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you study our approach, that is really the X factor. That's what makes a world of difference. And this being something you try once or twice and it just makes you feel horrible, or one of the most fun and easy pillars you've ever built in your real estate business, because these deals are priced to move. And when these people, when you show leadership and they are attracted to that, you're in charge. Like they let you price it, they let you call the shots, and these are smooth as can be. So if you're getting a cold reception on the phone, that's uncommon for our strongest subscribers. If you're getting that cold reception, I would just encourage you to look at what you're doing and say, am I the reason I'm getting that reception? Am I saying the same thing as other people? Or is my offer not really that strong or that attractive that I'm switching them off before we even get started? And that's one of those hard habits. Like we're so used to calling and saying, hey, I'm calling about 123 Walnut Street. Is it still for sale? Great. When can I come see it? Like that is a, investor prospecting call. Where here, if you do that, you're just going to get shut down because someone else has tried it, and they are at a stage where they don't see value in that right now. But if you build rapport and you show them that they don't have the money or the time to take the risk to rehab a property, they'll self-select and sell for an investor price, and we see it every day. It's just the approach that's much different. You get a much different reception.
Okay, does that help?
Yeah, it helps. So what? So as far as
that wasn't a real enthusiastic endorsement. But
yeah, no.
Try. You got to try it. I mean, get out there and try it. Whatever you're doing, if it's not working, adjust it and try something different. Obviously. And
okay.
Did you have another follow-up question?
No, I could let somebody else go. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're very welcome. We have 5 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 7976. You're up next. Are you there, 7976? I hear it clicking like you're trying to sign in. Do you have us muted out? Unmute. All right, I guess we'll have to go to the next person, 7976. Are you there?
Maybe they're like you and they just pocket dialed us.
Yeah, I'd never do that. All right, 7976. I see you're muted out. Let me see if I can. All right, you know what? I'm going to go to the next person. Just hit *6 and hit 1 again, and you'll go to the end of the queue. All right. Next up is phone number ending in 0575. You're up next.
Hello, this is Richard.
Yes, sir. Great, Richard.
Yeah, I'm a new subscriber. I haven't even gotten my leads yet, but from calling leads that I currently work with, I'm just trying to figure out the best way to speak with people that you don't pick up the phone. You know what I mean? Say you have a dialer and you're going through a dialer and you're talking to like hundreds of people, and then the people that don't answer, they call you back. What's the best way to respond to them?
You're asking about the callbacks or leaving a voicemail to the ones you don't get?
No, the callbacks. So you say you left a voicemail and then they call back, but you don't remember who you spoke to.
Yep.
Who you were calling.
Yeah, and that's common. I mean, it's people catch you off guard. You're out in the field. It doesn't change much from. Have you listened to any of our role play calls?
I listen to like one or two of them.
So what you hear there is it's not going to change much. I mean, obviously your intro changes because they're controlling the conversation in the beginning. Your job, like what's different, is you need to gain control. You need to take control of that conversation as quickly as you can. So when they call in, listen to what they have to say, and in your mind you're thinking, my outcome is to get face-to-face with this person. But step one is what is a good an open-ended emotional question to get them to engage, give myself some time to think, and then come up with follow-up questions so you can get the conversation on track to follow the progression that we teach and what you hear in our role play calls. It doesn't have to be exactly in that order, but I find that if you can gain control of the conversation and get it and control the order that you gather the information, it kind of builds, each layer is building on top of, the last set of questions. And it's just the best way to build and reinforce rapport. So just the biggest difference, when you're making the outbound call, you're doing that with intent and you have control from the beginning. So when you get an inbound, especially if you're surprised, you need to get control as quickly as you can. So obviously the first thing you need to do is identify who you're speaking to. A lot of times they'll just start talking and you say, oh, sorry, I didn't catch your name. Who am I speaking with? Okay. And get into the details, and try to feel them out. And they're probably going to say something like, well, I got this letter and then you left me a phone call and I don't know who you are. And a lot of times your inbound calls are a little bit more abrasive, but they're curious, and you gotta keep in mind it's just their ego protecting them. They don't know who you are, they don't trust you, but they are responding to what you offer. They're curious, and if you don't take that personally and realize that, oh, I'm talking to this person's ego, I need to make them comfortable so I can move past that and talk to the person. And that's what I mean by getting control. You need to kind of disarm them and show them that you had good intent and that you have multiple ways that you can help them, and then start asking them questions so you can figure out which one of those ways is going to be most attractive to them. And then you get engagement and move through it. But if you listen to some of the role play calls, if you haven't, there's in July and August, we actually had quite a few courageous people that put themselves in the prospecting hot seat. And usually I play the prospector and they play the PR, but we reverse roles. And for most of the callers in July and August, so those are a couple good ones to listen to. We do so many calls, I can't point to any, but I would say, listen to as many role plays as you can. You'll hear some inbound, you'll hear some outbound. But that's the best resource to kind of build your language and figure out, the good questions to ask to find yourself in control.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Next up, and we have 4 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 5418. You're up next.
Hello. Hey, this is Rick in California. Had a question about the best way to handle or work with probate referees, which we have here in California.
And a referee in California is the person that's basically doing a BPO, correct?
They're in the court is appointing them to estimate the cost on the real estate.
Yeah. So I don't know that. How do you feel what do you feel like you need to work with them on? Are you saying how do you influence the valuation?
Perhaps, but basically timing to coordinate with them so I can market the property as soon as possible.
Okay, so as soon as the person or the petitioner receives the articles of testamentary, then let me back up. If they petition the court for full authority in your state, they can go ahead and list the house and move forward, and the referee is never even appointed. If they have limited authority, they can still list the property at whatever price they choose. It's just in order to get the contract approved and before the overbid process starts, then the referee has to offer a valuation to the court. So a referee should never stand in the way of you getting a listing signed or signing a purchase agreement even. It can be done after the fact. It's just something that before the overbid process starts, the referee does do their part. So I don't think they're not standing in the way of your process. Of getting the paperwork signed. Once you have a contract ratified, that is one of the steps in the court approval. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Am I missing something?
Well, it makes sense. The referee's coming up with a price, and I'm coming up. I may come up. Let's say I came up with a much lower price for cash or something. So, just wanted to get experience with that.
I mean, if you have good rapport with the family, one of the best things you can do if you guys agree on a price, I mean, if you can get them to petition the court for full authority, then all this goes away. Like, you can work directly with the PR and agree on a fair value, and it doesn't need approval. It can go to close. So if that's where you're getting stuck, you should build relationships with the probate attorney. You should build rapport with the PR, talk to them, then go to the probate attorney and try to coordinate getting the petition for full authority. And I just helped, I don't know if Soji's on this call, but Soji he went ahead, he signed a listing agreement, and it took a few weeks, but he signed the listing agreement to protect himself. He encouraged the personal representative to petition the court for full authority, even though they had already been granted limited authority. They petitioned, they were granted full authority. They basically amended the paperwork and went to market. And that was from a brokerage standpoint, but it's no different from an investor standpoint. Like, if you understand your probate process and you're a leader and you're in rapport with them, it's in their best interest. You're going to shorten the overall timeline by probably 6 to 8 months in California. I mean, 3 to 6 months for sure. So you're going to lower their overall carrying costs. You're going to get the money in the estate's bank account quicker so they can settle other liabilities and get the whole thing behind them faster. So it's usually always in their best interest to have full authority unless they're just being taken advantage of. And I don't think you would be here if you were looking at this as a predatory opportunity. But if you feel like you're making a fair offer, then you can, in good conscience, push them toward full authority. And for whatever reason, most of the time, and I think it's probably billable hours, but most attorneys won't suggest that. But if the personal representative petitions the court and says, you will do this for us, they can't tell them they're not going to do it, or they can go find a new attorney. But it can save the family thousands of dollars and tens of thousands of dollars and months of time. So there's a big benefit for them, and there's also the obvious benefit for you of not having to go to court approval and overbid.
Very good. I appreciate that, Chad. Thank you very much.
Sure.
All right, excellent. We have 4 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 7665. You're up next.
Yes, hi. My name is Tiana Hickson. I actually have a question regarding reaching out to probate leads. So I am interested in, because I'm going to start working a full-time job, I'm interested in potentially texting the leads. Do you oppose texting probate or, the family members, or, I don't know, how does that process work?
It's effective, but it's risky, and you'll have to decide on what your risk tolerance is. Are you a member of our Facebook group, All the Leads Mastermind?
Yes.
So if you go to that group, and in the search this group bar, if you're on a cell phone, it's at the top. If you're on a desktop, it's on the left. But under search this group, put in TCPA, and that's Telephone Consumer Protection Act, TCPA. And it'll bring up probably a half a dozen conversations that we've had on this, and at least one of those originated with, it was as a success story, where one of our agents, I believe in Texas, she was having an amazing success texting. And as an individual practitioner, it's not likely you're going to get pinched by a federal law, but there is some liability there. So just understand the TCPA laws, and make sure that, just make sure you're comfortable with the risk. It's very effective. You have 90% open rates and 50% response rates or better. So it's one of the best marketing mediums out there. It's just high, it's regulated, and without written consent, you're not supposed to be texting these people. Now, some attorneys will argue that you're offering a service, not trying to sell them anything. Other people will argue that that they are a public representative, and it's all a gray area that you're operating in. And we have a lot of folks that use it, and they use it successfully, but you've got to make that ruling, whether you're willing to take the risk.
Okay. All right. I think that was all of my questions.
All right. Thank you, Tiana. Next up is phone number ending in 7850. You're up next.
Oh,
I think
good
you have
afternoon. That's it.
There you are. Yes, sir.
All right. Randall Crow in beautiful McKinney, Texas.
Yes, sir.
I was calling in regards to the CRM. What's the cost on that, and how do you merge that data from the list onto the CRM?
So there's no cost if you're a subscriber. It's part of what on the package we include with your leads. So we push your leads directly. Once we've added phone numbers to the public data, we push that directly into your CRM. It can also, if you're set up on autopilot, the second your leads hit the CRM, we order the mail. The second your mail's fulfilled, we order your calls through our call center. So it can be used to fully automate your campaign, or you can use it manually and fulfill your own campaign.
Well, Chad, thank you very much for answering that. That leads me to my next question, and that is at the call center. What kind of experience do these individuals have, and what's their conversion rate?
Oh, you said at the call center. I thought you said ethical center. I'm like, I'm not following.
Yeah, I did. I heard the same thing. I heard the same thing.
We have no
Well, I hope they're ethical.
It took a while for my brain had to solve for that. I'm like, wait a minute. He said at the call center.
Kid said we got no stinking ethics, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
So I'll be candid with you. I mean, since we have made the decision, to do DNC validation, and because we are a call center, we do have a much bigger target on our back. So we don't, we're not calling the numbers that are known to be on the DNC, the do not call list. So right. Our conversion rates, if you confine it just to the people we're contacting, are usually around 4%. But if you, since we're not calling DNCs, obviously that conversion rate it suffers if you look at the entire original list. So a lot of folks will let us call the non-DNCs, and then they'll come behind us and call the DNCs just to make sure they get full coverage. But that's right now, we're calling every one of them that don't have the DNC flag, and we call each of them twice, and we'll call on different days at different times. So for example, if we call on a Wednesday evening, the next call to that same number would be on a Thursday morning, to give you the best chance of contact. Okay.
And what kind of experience do those individuals have? I know they're ethical.
So we have about 600 hours of these conversations, and they've listened to just about every minute of it. They are, they participate in our business at all levels, just so they have the sharpest axe they can. So they're on every role play call, they're on every mastermind call, they look at every blog post. They obviously are in the office with us. We're not using offshore callers or anything like that. These are really good domestic people that are part of our business and our team.
Okay. And they've also been doing it for many, many, many months, and in several cases for years, not just months. So they've been at this a good long time. They pretty much know almost anything they're likely to hear and know how to overcome most any objection. If they get the right person on the phone and there's an opportunity to close them out and get you an appointment, they're going to be right on it.
Okay, so if you're first starting in this business, would you recommend doing the fully automated marketing?
There's a lot of variables there. I mean, Sorry about that.
You there? You there, Chad? Go ahead.
There's a lot of variables. So I mean, budget is the biggest one. You know, you're going to have added expense if you're outsourcing everything. So, are you on a tight budget, or do you have a liberal budget to make this work?
Well, I'm going to say, to protect myself, I have a conservative budget.
Okay. Well, getting started, I mean, if it's better off if you do have a limited budget, then you should get in the trenches and build the skill set and prove that you can do it, and then you'll always understand, like you'll have a better understanding of it. So get in there and do it yourself until you're successful, and then reinvest your first revenue. You need to reinvest that back into outsourcing it if you're ready for that. And what you may find is that you're good at it and it's actually pretty fun and easy, and you don't need to outsource it. But I think that we should all get in there and do the work so we understand it. But if you simply don't have the time or bandwidth to do that, or the skill set, then we've got your back. The automation is good for some people from the get-go. But
if I could just add to that, part of the automation is the mail, and that almost always makes sense to outsource that. You know, but by the time you pay the postage and the envelopes, and your time is certainly worth more than, you know, nickels or dimes per hour. And our cards are much more effective at getting open because it doesn't look like business mail; it looks like personal mail.
Okay.
You want to add to that, Chad? Go ahead.
No, I would agree. I meant to say that and I got carried away. So 99% of people will lose money doing their own mail fulfillment. There's a select few that are, you know, running a high enough level operation where they have their own in-house printing team, and those are the ones that won't lose money. But if you figure out the value of your time and factor that in, almost everyone who does their own mail is ultimately losing money, not making money or saving money.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate all the insight. I just need to pull the trigger, I guess.
Sounds good to me. I think I know some good salespeople that will call you right after this call if you're available.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Randall. Appreciate it.
Sure enough.
We got 4 more in the queue. We're going to go ahead and close the queue in about 2 or 3 minutes. So if you do want to get in, go in now. Hit *6 and hit 1. And next up is phone number ending in 6638.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. A couple of questions. Number one is, if you've taken the Mastermind, is there a fee to take it again? I took it in August.
Mastery course, you mean, right?
Or Mastery, yes.
Yeah.
No, there's no fee. When you see the announcement come out, for the October class, just reply to the email and say, you know, please register me as alumni, and I'll manually register you. And that's probably going to be the 3rd week of October. I was actually working on scheduling it when this call started, so it's going to be a few weeks. But when you see the announcement, just respond and say, put me in. It's interesting to me. We had 21 alumni come back for the course this month. And I think Joyce is holding the record at 16 consecutive trips through Probate Mastery. So, but yes, you can come back as often as you'd like. We have folks that did it 3 years ago that are sitting back in, and folks that take it every month until they get confident and move forward and outgrow it. So.
Okay. I've visited a few attorney offices, and of course, even though you say in the afternoon is good, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I only ended up talking to one, and it was a pretty good conversation. I'm noticing that several of the attorneys are in the same offices. Mm-hmm. So is that kind of awkward? I haven't done it yet. October's kind of going to be my big month for really hitting the attorneys.
So I think you can get the opposite of awkward. This was in Central Ohio. Jeff, when he found this situation, it was around Columbus, Ohio, and he found a firm like that where the firm, their dominant, the dominant part of their business was probate. And there were 12 attorneys in the firm. All of them had a couple of cases on each list. And he went in and he talked to one of them, and they said, man, I'm just really busy. Could you come back tomorrow? He came back the next day. The boardroom was full. All the partners in the firm were in the boardroom. They had his website up on an 84-inch monitor. And they were just like, how in the hell did you build this website on your own? And it was one of our WordPress sites. And he's like, man, I just, a lot of late nights. He was there for 2.5 hours with every partner in the firm around the table because they were so fascinated with his business model and so like just blown away that a real estate professional would go to that extent to provide a service that was like dovetailed perfectly with what they were, with the legal scope, what they handled. So what you might find is a similar result where, you kind of, you cross-pollinate through the office. So I would look at it as an advantage. The economy scales on your side. You've got all of them in one building. You don't have to drive all over town, right? And there may even be an opportunity for you to, buy them lunch and sponsor a lunch for the firm. Just say, listen, I really we take this serious. We've built an entire team to handle the non-legal aspects of probate. And if you're okay with me buying lunch tomorrow, I'd like to talk to your partners about it. And just kind of like a broker's open. I used to do that when I went into new markets with new construction projects. I would, I would just buy lunch and get everybody to listen, and it worked tremendously. So you may try something like that, and encourage them all to come to one meeting so you get, the most exposure and the most energy in the room, where if you have 12 guys asking you questions, there's going to be better questions and more wheels will be turning than if you have to do them one by one by one.
Right.
So I would look at it as an advantage.
Okay. I also noticed that several attorneys don't even have an office. They have a P.O. box. You know how you can have a P.O. box without the P.O. box number and address, because I actually do that with my real estate, because I actually had somebody show up at my house one day. It's like, oh, I need to change that and have a different address, like a P.O. box on my license, so that people don't show up and stalk you.
Yeah, and if that's the case, there's not much you can do other than just go to, you can use like NOLO or FindLaw.com and actually look for that.
Yeah.
So you can find that attorney's name and then find the firm he's associated with, and then you get the firm address.
Right.
So there's workarounds for that.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much, Chad.
Sure.
Thank you. We have 3 more in the queue. We're still looking for our winner of the week. If anybody has a, a compelling success story, even one deal is a success. Don't be shy. Just hit *6 and hit 1. Next up is phone number ending in 7976. You're up next. Are you there, Renee? Renee, obviously you hit *6 to get in the queue. Now hit 1. It should unmute her.
She didn't have a microphone in Mastery either, so.
Okay. Renee, where are you? I do not show that you're muted out, Renee, but we can't hear you. Huh. All right. We have 2 more in the queue. I'm going to have to put you to the back of the line again, Renee. See if you can get your tech working and come back in a few minutes. Next up is phone number ending in 5528. You're up next.
Hey, guys. Justin here.
Hey, Justin.
Hey, had a quick question, not regarding a client, actually. This is going on in my family. So I have a grandmother. She's going through dementia, so my aunt is taking care of her. She's receiving Medicaid and living assistance. But my aunt is getting tired, driving back and forth. My grandmother has her own house, but she's looking to move my grandmother in with her at my aunt's house. And we were trying to see what would be the best option as far as, I told them the best option would be to quit claim it so that you can continue to get the Medicaid, but I'm not sure how that would affect the living assistance, because she does have someone coming over to assist. So I'm not sure how that would affect. Could you guys give me some better insight on that so I can give better advice?
So if she's not living in the home, Medicaid is going to continue payment. They're going to want to see that the house is on the market. And you have to basically season it for 13 months. If you quit claim, you need to show that, they haven't owned the property in the last 12 months to avoid that. So what's likely to happen is, in order for Medicaid payments to continue, you're going to have to list the house at tax assessed value or higher. And a lot of times they just sit there for a year until you pass the 12-month mark. Then you can start to reduce the price. But it sounds like the family's objective is to keep the home, correct?
Yes, we want to keep the home in the family if that's doable.
So she's already qualified for Medicaid. Is that on on low income?
I'm not 100% sure, but yes, I think so.
So does she have this? Do you know who the social worker is that comes and meets with her?
No, I don't actually.
So that's the person you need to make contact with. They can tell you how she originally qualified for the program and how moving out of her home creates any problems. It sounds like, because a lot of times you'll see, when people go on Medicaid, their home goes on the market and it'll sit there at tax assessed value and not sell. Eventually it sells and they can move into more suitable housing, and then they qualify for Medicaid because their assets have been depleted. So she has found there's some other circumstance here that has allowed her to keep her home keep her home and qualify. And what it could be, there may be a Medicaid lien placed on the property. It's hard to tell, but the social worker should be able.
I'm sorry, I do believe that's what it is, because my mother did say if they do sell the house, then Medicaid's going to ask for the money. So
okay, so in this case, then if you quit claim it, you have to convey clear title. So someone has to pay the lien. Someone from the family would have to step up and pay off that lien and to get the quit claim. So do you know the amount of the lien? I'm sure it's probably growing monthly.
Exactly, yeah. I'm not sure exactly what the number is, but I'll get it from the social worker.
Yeah. And, are you guys wanting to keep the home to ultimately flip it or for another family member to live in?
I'm not sure what they want to do with it. I just know that right now, my family's looking to keep the house.
Okay. For how long? Are they looking to keep it until they can maximize the equity in it, or to keep it forever because it was Cleo's house?
I'm not sure. Like I said,
the reason I'm asking, Justin, is if they want to keep it just so they can fix it up and flip it in the next 6 months, then it would make more sense to just let it be. Don't do anything. You don't have to do the quit claim. Just put the money into it, flip it, and pay the lien off, and the rest, the profit can go to the family. You can do other agreements. But if they're looking to, if you have a cousin that wants to move into the home and you think they'll live there forever, then it's worth finding a way to pay off the Medicaid lien, quit claim it to the cousin, so you don't have to pay transfer tax and do it that way. So I would start with, what's the family's desired outcome, and then if you want to call back and jump on my calendar, we can work it through. But I always start with what are your goals and what are your challenges, and then I see how to put stuff together.
Okay, very helpful, very helpful. One question, how do I get on your calendar if I do need to reach back out to you?
If you call our support team and tell them that I gave you permission, they'll or just have them put you on my calendar, and they'll see my openings, and whenever you pop up, I'll give you a call.
Sounds good, thanks.
All right, excellent. We have 2 more in the queue. That should take us nicely up to the top of the hour. Next up is phone number ending in 5481. You're up next.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Gil from New York.
Hey Gil.
There you go.
Good.
Hey, how's it going? Well, the reason I called is I just got my leads my first month, and I've actually been on the phone this week trying to get through to people. And what I found is that a lot of the people that I'm talking to aren't the actual executor. Some of the leads actually don't have the executor on there at all, just people, I guess, who are related to them. So what I wanted to ask you guys was, what's the best method? Like when you reach someone, should I actually go through how much should I reveal? Should I actually go through trying to do the USP with them, or do I just give them just enough? Like, I'm just trying to figure out what's my best way to get to the actual person that I need to speak to.
So are you noticing that when you're calling the wrong person, is it a common name, and are they not associated with that family at all? Is that what you're finding?
No, they're associated. It might be like a brother or, you know, an aunt or somebody like that. Okay. They're saying, you know, do I speak to them, the other person, or
so what's happening is we're not finding, you know, some people are better at hiding their information than others. So if you're getting other family members, it's because we didn't either the number we found for the PR, they didn't answer, so you continued to call, or they just didn't have a published, like we didn't find their number, so we found you associated contacts. So if that's what you're finding, like if you're hitting the right family, not like the wrong John Doe altogether, like if you found the right John Doe's family, just say, you know, hey, this is, you know, I'm calling, this is Gil. I'm trying to reach John. You know how I could get a hold of him? And they'll probably say something like, well, how did you get this number? Be like, oh, my assistant's way smarter than me. She just gave it to me and told me to call. This is John Doe's sister, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know, I was calling because we've got a team of people to help families going through probate, and as part of that, we find out who's going through it and reach out early in the process because we know we can make a big difference. And I just wanted to have a quick conversation with John and probably ultimately you and the rest of the family. You think you could share his number with me?
Okay.
And approach it that way, like, because you don't know that they are.
Go ahead, Chad, finish.
The reason I suggest it that way is you don't know if they have any authority legally or socially. You do know that about the personal representative, like they petitioned the court and they were approved. So until you learn more about who the decision makers are and what the dynamic is, you're best to don't go too deep with somebody who you're not sure what their role is. Use your time there to build enough trust that they'll give you the PR's phone number. And if you notice what I said, and ultimately we'll probably be on the phone with you too, but I did just want to talk with John for a few minutes. So try to build enough rapport you can get John's a good phone number for John, and then you'll loop her back in once you've talked to John and figured out what their needs are, and you set the appointment. Sorry, Jim.
And Gil, what I was going to ask you, are you finding a lot of those people are the third or fourth phone number that we give you? Like you're trying the first or second, by the time you get to the third or fourth, it's distant relatives? Is that common?
Yeah.
Or
Yes. I usually try, if the actual person's on the phone, I try them. If they're on the list, I try them, and then I'll move on. But I'll maybe leave a message or something. But what I don't like to do is just leave any lead behind. So a lot of them just won't have that person at all. They'll have like somebody with a similar last name, maybe like
gotcha.
Yeah, so that's and that's when I really start to reach out to everyone on that lead.
Sure, because what I was going to say to you is generally the PR will be the first or second phone number by the time you get to the third or fourth. So if you do get the third or fourth one, you know, you might say, you know, hey, I've been trying to get a hold of John Smith, and you know, I've been calling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that the correct number for him? You know, you might, and if it is, hey, would you mind having John give me a call? A lot of times relatives, because you know, they might. Chances are they may be one of the heirs. They may not be the PR, but they may have an interest in helping you get the property sold. So, you know, if you...
I was going to ask you guys about that, too, because I was going to say what's, the best method for going through all those numbers? Like, should I just go through my leads and skip maybe the ones who don't have the number first and try to find the guys first? Because I was trying to make sure I called all of them, you know, right away.
Well, the first column, that's commonly misunderstood. The first column are generally when they have the PR's number in the court records, and most of those are going to be blank because that's the exception to the rule. But the next column, and Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, the next column will often be, we try to give you the actual PR's phone number, and by the time you get to the third or fourth one, it might be a relative.
Or somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So just because in the first column you don't see it, it doesn't mean we're not giving you the PR's number. It just means it wasn't part of the court records, usually.
Okay. And when I get off the phone, I ordered the website from you guys earlier this week because I was getting a couple of people who I guess maybe were out of town and they were asking me if I had one, and I didn't have one, so that's why I ordered it. But now, once I get the actual website, should I reference those people to the website as well? Like if maybe they don't want to give me the person's number, should I tell them to go check us out, or do you think that would help? And maybe call them back or something?
Yeah, I don't think it can hurt you at all.
Yeah, it's credibility. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Say, hey, you don't know who I am. I mean, I realize that. I've built a company and a business and a website to help people in similar situations. To John Smith. Maybe check us out and give me a call back, or check me out and can I give you a call back tomorrow? Sometimes they're just skeptical. I mean,
Right,
a lot of people are on defense because they don't know if Uncle John is in debt and you're a bill collector, looking for him.
Right.
So the website definitely gives you extra credibility. Sure, use it.
Well, and a lot of people say if you're not quite ready to have a conversation, I invite you to come learn a little bit more about me so that when you are ready, you'll know maybe more questions to ask and all that. And I've set up a website that provides a lot of great information about probate. It's at www.xyz.com, and please feel free to go there and ask me any questions you want. No obligation. You've made it easy. A lot of people may not want to talk to you, but they are willing to go take a look at a website. So definitely a good idea.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Now, hopefully closing is Renee again, if we can figure out how to unmute her. Last up, hopefully, is phone number ending in 7976. Are you there?
Can you guys hear me?
Yay! All right. Third time's the charm.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm sure this you were worth waiting for, Renee. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. It's always nice to be wanted, last but not least. Okay, I've got questions all over the place. So
Okay.
I'm going to shoot. Oh my gosh, hold on. So I think it goes a little bit along the lines of the last caller. If there's absolutely no phone number and no other contact, etc., I mean, I kind of have my idea. I would just keep mailing that person, but if I'm too far away to door knock, like kind of highest and best use of time for somebody like that, because I got to figure that nobody else is probably working them if they don't have any other avenue than a mailing address.
Are you getting emails on a lot of yours
No.
also, Renee?
Well,
You're not?
I'm just thinking of like the few that I've gotten so far. I just have 2
Okay.
months worth now, so
Yeah.
I'm just thinking ahead. But I did notice already in the first, probably 20 that I contacted, there were enough to formulate this question.
Yeah.
So
it's a small
the other
percentage, but significant. Yep.
I mean, you're on the
So
right
just
track.
keep going.
If there is an email, you can email them. If it's close, you can door knock them. The other thing you might consider too, and you're right, if there's limited contact information, that means you're going to have even less competition.
Yeah.
The other thing you may consider is mailing a letter to the deceased last known mailing address in addition to the PR address. And chances are someone's checking that mailbox or they've set up a mail forwarding.
Okay.
So you could potentially double your surface area that way and get a better contact rate.
Okay. I don't want to think about it too much, but it goes along the lines of now that I'm getting started, in my career, I have had a number of CRMs and transferred them, and it's just such a pain when you get going. And I think of doing this as well, like the logistics of it. So I just want to be clear of, what I'm doing with who and when. So it seems like a simple question, but, 10 of these later in, 2 or 3 months, you're like, oh, my gosh, what am I doing? How am I doing it? Which leads into, I think, Chad, you were going to send me the CRM video of kind of highest and best use of how to sort with this CRM, particularly with follow-up.
Yeah, as soon as we get that uploaded, I think Kat's working on it today, so as soon as it's uploaded, I'll get it to you.
Perfect. And also with the vendors, I've always been somebody who's been really, really blessed with vendors. and some of them I have not met, face to face, like right out of the gate. Sometimes they're referrals or referrals. And do you guys recommend, though, that, if let's say we have good vibes for all of our vendors, we just can't meet everybody ahead of time, but we're kind of like, all right, we're going to throw our hat over the fence and send these people there. And, in essence, you guys are like, hey, put the lockbox on there and let your vendors do everything. Would you recommend that we try to get out to at least the first couple of transactions just to see how they do everything? I mean, I haven't heard a lot of talk of, like, follow-up with vendors that you might not know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like any other part of your business. Like, they're looking someone in the eye and, like, building a real human relationship is more powerful than, through managing a relationship through email or phone calls. So it's certainly good to, just have constant contact with them. So, go out on one of the sites and see how they're doing. Drop in their office and surprise them with a Little Caesars hot and ready pizza for $6. Like, I think it's always good to have that contact because it's familiarity, and that just kind of reinforces the trust and reminds them why they're associated with you to begin with, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems obvious. I just kind of want to hear, like, what other success stories people are having, and I know what I would do. But as I'm getting going, there's so many different types of vendors, and it's exciting. I mean, I wanted to share one thing, too, with the group. There's, like, a National Professional Fiduciary Association, which is something new to me. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, but there's a chapter here in LA, and there's like an intermediary for the family. So rather than just being a lawyer, and that chapter you can join as not being, a member, and I found that to be really helpful. I thought it was pretty cool. There's a lot of
So have you?
That. Ooh. That's not me.
No, it's somebody right outside my office. Their alarm went off. Would you go see who that is, Missy? Sorry about that. I'd walk to the back here to drown it out.
And lastly, before we all wrap this up, Chad, you threw out some numbers, and I always like to have these in the beginning just to have a touchstone and make sure what I'm doing is working. You said about 10% of the people are motivated to sell now, and about 90% open rate and 50% response on texting. You kind of went over this yesterday, but are there any more statistics about mailings and any of that stuff, kind of mailings and phones, just so I can track what I'm doing?
I know all of my business partners are rolling their eyes right now. I have days worth of statistics.
Okay. Well, I don't want to take it too seriously, but I do find that stuff to be interesting because I do track my numbers even in my regular residential real estate business, and I am, then you know where you are. Like, are you just mediocre? Are you above the line, below the line? Just for me, I think numbers are powerful.
So the one, like the relevant metrics that I would say you should track are, pieces of mail sent and inbound contacts, outbound contacts. Like those are the things I kept in a KPI sheet. Okay. Like number of calls made, number of contacts made, number of appointments set, number of contracts signed, and number of closings each week.
Right, I have that.
And I tracked that, and I even broke that down like within probate. And that's how I had such a good handle. So like my direct mail was about a 2% response rate. Ringless voicemail was about a 2% response rate. Live phone calls were about a 50% contact rate. And so I just tracked, basically all marketing activity was tracked back to the result. We did X and we got Y. And that's how I was able to really tighten down on and really know what was working and what wasn't, and where I would kill things and, start and, try something different. So those are the biggest things, just, getting a handle on your marketing and how many contacts. And the other thing that you should track is how many contacts does it take before you convert. So if you have a great conversation, how many more do you need before you're converting those leads? And
Yeah.
it should be one. There are occasions where you have to, talk to, like David Pinnell's a master of this. Like I think they're averaging like 7 touches before a close, before a conversion. He's much, much better at follow-up than I was. But for me, I typically would wait for the inbound. I would mark it until I got an inbound, and I would convert pretty much all of them. But David's doing a very aggressive outbound campaign. So he's worked it down to a science where he knows to get X number of contacts, I have to make X number of calls, and that should result in X amount of business. And, because this list is 6 months old, the probability is X% higher because we've already touched them 7 times. So if you want to get that granular, track your contacts, and, you can use our CRM. You can use one of the things you'll see is that we have a short code, and it's a way for us to keep the software very simple, but for you to have the flexibility to turn it into whatever tool you would need. So, for example, you could do hashtag contact 1, hashtag contact 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And every time you're going through your list, you just apply that hashtag every time you call. And then you can sort and see the ones that you've talked to, 5 times versus the ones you've had contact with 10 times. And,
right.
You can sort and say, don't show me the ones that are rated lost, only show me the ones that are rated follow-up, and I'm only going to focus on the ones I've talked to at least 7 times. Like that could be a hot priority list. So
right.
You can use, things like that to kind of help you so you're not trying to move all this back into a KPI sheet. It's there in your CRM.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. That answered my question. It was a little bit more of a brainstorm question. So yeah, got it. That makes sense. Because it's not like you said yesterday or during Probate Mastery, this CRM isn't as robust. It's not quite like a LionDesk or Top Producer where it's totally integrated, which I would put that in the suggestion box, for your meeting. So for me, instead of having 2 CRMs, like I have LionDesk and basically now I have this, and I even have Mojo, which I don't really use as a CRM, but you kind of could, for follow-up, that it starts to get too much. I'm hoping, moving forward in my career, I can just have 1 CRM, even if I put past client center of influence in there, and that's the only other people that would live in there, versus new leads coming in. So that's my thought process. Okay.
I mean, just for the benefit of everybody, the CRM is intentionally designed to be that simple. And Renee, I think you're an outlier. Like you've got an appetite for technology and granularity and analytics that most real estate professionals just simply don't have. And the biggest problem with most of those big, robust CRMs that us geeks like so much is they're intimidating and they're not user-friendly for a lot of users. So we tried to strike a balance where it's something that, the best CRM, I've heard a lot of coaches say this, but the best CRM is the one you'll actually use.
Right.
And I've seen real estate agents, like big team owners. I know a guy who invested like $100,000 in building this amazing Infusionsoft platform. And it just, things change, things break, and they eventually just said to hell with it, and they $100,000 out the window because they built this big complex monster that was just a continuous maintenance issue, and it ended up probably costing them even more than the $100,000 and lost productivity. So what we didn't want to do was create a tool that slows people down or ends up creating more complexity. We wanted to create something really simple with light customization, with the idea being that there are so many robust, amazing CRMs out there. You can prospect using the Probate CRM, and then once you've got a client or an appointment, you can move them over into whatever you're used to and treat it the way you do most of your business. But that's the idea behind it. So we're not really, we're not looking to turn it into a LionDesk. It's
okay.
a specific CRM for a specific type of campaign. And what we set out to make it do, it does really well. It saves you time, it keeps you organized, and it saves you money.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. And part of that,
All right.
I asked that question is I have to renew my LionDesk. So I was like, well, am I going to do it or not? So got it. Okay, thanks, guys.
You were worth waiting for.
Renee,
Thank you, Renee.
Jim,
Go ahead.
before we close, Renee, if you haven't looked at Podio, if you have such an appetite for custom tools and you want to do it and it's an inexpensive option, check out Podio. It may be worth it may be worth you just building your own custom CRM off the Podio platform, and their plugins like it's open source, so you can buy plugins of what other people have already developed, but you can achieve you can get a really robust CRM for far less than what a CRM provider would charge.
For POTIO?
PODIO.
Oh,
Podio.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We ran a little long today, but just about everybody who started finished with us. We appreciate your patience. We, as always, appreciate all of you taking an hour plus out of your day to be here. Particularly thank those who actively participated in the call. And I always end the calls the same way. I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to challenge all of you, take one thought, one idea, one thing that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice, and come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great week, and we will talk to you same time next Thursday. Take care.